The new iPhone 9 will look less like the iPhone SE and more like the iPhone 8. And while that's a tad disappointing, I still think this is going to be a compelling device. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Mac. Be sure to thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Jeff Benjamin with 9 to 5 Mac. In this video, I want to talk about the upcoming iPhone SE 2 or iPhone 9. More than likely, it's going to be called the iPhone 9. The reason why I want to talk about this release in particular is because it's been rumored to launch sometime this month. Now, obviously, with everything going on with the coronavirus pandemic, with Apple stores closing, the physical stores, that could obviously change. We don't know if Apple will simply push out a press release and release this online only. We don't know if this thing is going to be delayed. It hasn't even been announced, so you can't technically delay it, but we don't know if Apple will push back the release of the iPhone 9 with everything going on. So why does the iPhone 9, or I guess I should say, why will the iPhone 9 exist? Well, this is a long-rumored budget smartphone entry into Apple's lineup. Right now, they really don't have a low-end entry-level phone. Right now, that's being filled by the iPhone 8, which has some very outdated specs, right? So the iPhone 9 will provide customers with a much less expensive phone with modern internals, and then Apple benefits because they get to use their already existing manufacturing and supply process to make this thing a reality. So really, it's a win-win for both Apple and the end user. And that is why people are calling this the iPhone SE 2, because the iPhone SE followed a similar pattern, and we're going to talk about that pattern in this video. Now, with all that being said, it's very likely that the iPhone 9 will not be met with the same response as the iPhone SE. When the iPhone SE came out, people just loved it instantly. It was a cute little device, right? Oh, it's so cute. Hey, little iPhone SE. Hey, little iPhone SE. People fell in love with it immediately. I don't think we're going to see the same response to the iPhone 9, but I think it's still a very smart move for Apple to release this product. Now, before we get into the specifics of the iPhone 9, let's talk about the iPhone SE. Really, it was the original budget entry-level smartphone. We're not including the iPhone 5C. So you know those shoes that everyone kind of makes fun of?
Yeah, sure, boss.
Well, I had this great idea. Arguably, the biggest reason for the iPhone SE's popularity was due to its price. Starting at just $399, it was substantially cheaper than the then flagship iPhone 6s, which released the prior September. Granted, back then carrier subsidies were still a thing, so that sort of muddied the perception of what was cheap and what wasn't, but customers still seemed to understand that the iPhone SE was an anomaly. It was a cheap phone, relatively speaking, compared to all the other phones in Apple's smartphone lineup. Now, besides price, one of the reasons that the iPhone SE was so adored was because of the timing. It fell basically right in between the release of the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 7. Right after the new year, there's sort of this lull period where people aren't really thinking as much about the iPhone because it has launched several months back, and the new iPhone still several months away. So this was the perfect time to release the iPhone SE. The next big reason that people love the iPhone SE was due to its value. This was basically an iPhone 6s, which was the flagship phone at the time, crammed into the body of an iPhone 5s. Yes, it featured the same Apple A9 system on the chip, 2 GB of RAM, it shot 4K video. This was a beastly phone in a very unassuming body. So even though it featured an older design with sort of outdated screen technology, this was still a remarkably fast phone for the time. But arguably the biggest reason that the iPhone SE was so well liked, outside of the affordable price, was due to its design. As has been mentioned, this design pulled directly from the iPhone 5 era of smartphones, which in and of itself pulled from the iPhone 4 era, which was, in my opinion, the most iconic iPhone of all time. Some of the hallmarks of the iPhone SE design were the back anodized aluminum, the fact that it had no camera bump, the squared off sides, the chamfered edges, which were color matched anodized aluminum, and of course its most compelling feature, the fact that it was so portable and easily fit in one hand. Yes, smaller than any phone since the iconic iPhone 5s, the iPhone SE was beloved because of its design and portability. So considering all those things and then comparing what we've been hearing about the iPhone 9, we can make some definite parallels to this upcoming release. But before we make those parallels, I wanted to talk to you briefly about our sponsor, Private Internet Access. Founded in 2010, it's the leading no-log VPN service with over 1 million paying customers. Now, of course, Private Internet Access will work with your existing iOS devices. It'll also work with the upcoming iPhone 9, but there are also dedicated VPN apps for Mac, Windows, Linux, Android, Amazon Fire, Linux, and more. Why do I use Private Internet Access? Well, I primarily use it to protect my data when on public Wi-Fi hotspots. And this service provides you with over 3,000 servers in over 30 countries. Indeed, there are tons of servers available, so you always have access to the fastest connection. And what's really cool is that it features simultaneous connections for up to 10 devices with no logging whatsoever. It even features a built-in kill switch. Of course, as an iPhone owner, you can easily subscribe from the App Store, but there are also other payment options like PayPal, Bitcoin, gift cards, and more. We've teamed up with Private Internet Access to offer special discounts to 9 to 5 Mac viewers. Click the link in the description to start protecting your data today. So considering all those things and then comparing what we've been hearing about the iPhone 9, we can make some definite parallels to this upcoming release. For starters, assuming it still launches within the next month or two, it will still be right within that midway period between the release of the iPhone 11 and the upcoming iPhone 12. So there's that lull period again, where you really have the opportunity to drum up some excitement for this new hardware. Then there's the price. Apple still sells the iPhone 8 as its entry-level smartphone right now, and that's some seriously outdated hardware. What's crazy to me is that they still sell the iPhone 8 for $449. With that said, I think we could see an iPhone 9 come in and replace the iPhone 8 starting at $400. So that will be similar to the iPhone SE, which also launched at $400 for the base model. That $400 price point will make it the cheapest iPhone in the lineup, and it's a brand new device. And get this, according to leaked iOS 14 code, there will also be an iPhone 9 Plus, which will feature a 5.5-inch display to go along with the regular iPhone 9's 4.7-inch display. So this is looking like a true one-to-one replacement for the iPhone 8 in the lineup, just with a cheaper price. Now, with all the uncertainty about the coronavirus, I could definitely see people who were planning on perhaps upgrading to an iPhone 11 from an older device like an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 6S or 7. I can see them saying, hold up, wait a minute, let's go with the cheaper device because of this uncertainty right now. Let's go instead with an iPhone 9 instead of the iPhone 11. For those with a phone like an iPhone 6, which is like on its last leg, I could definitely see people making that decision. So what we know is this, the iPhone 9 will be based directly off the iPhone 8. We're talking almost an exact one-to-one from a design perspective. So that means the outer chassis will look nearly identical. One thing that we've heard could be different is the back glass. It could be a frosted glass, sort of like the iPhone 11, and that would be one of the main differentiating factors when comparing the two devices. But other than that, the design will be almost exactly the same. So assuming that this iPhone 9 features an iPhone 8 chassis with iPhone 11 internals for just $400, this seems like a pretty good deal. Now granted, you're not going to have all the niceties of the iPhone 11 on the iPhone 9 because it's using that iPhone 8 chassis. So things like the true depth camera system will not be available. So you're going to have to rely on Touch ID instead of having Face ID. And then of course, you're not going to have that full edge-to-edge gesture-based display like you have on modern phones like the iPhone 11. So with all things considered, the iPhone 9 is looking like a seriously compelling device at the bottom of Apple's smartphone lineup. For $400, it's probably going to come standard with 64 gigabytes of flash storage. So it's looking like a pretty incredible value considering you're getting iPhone 11 internals inside this iPhone 8 chassis. So while this sounds like an incredible device for the money, the biggest downside, the weakest link of the iPhone 9 is no doubt the design. If people are going into this expecting something that looks like a modern take on the iPhone SE, they're going to be largely disappointed. This device is going to look almost exactly like an iPhone 8, but it's going to perform like an iPhone 11. That's basically what this is. It'll come in two flavors, the regular 4.7-inch model and the plus 5.5-inch model. And although it is disappointing that we don't get a brand new design or a modern take on the iPhone SE, it's totally understandable why Apple would not want to invest the research and development and the process changes for a budget-minded iPhone. It just doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things. Why not just use already existing procedures to make a new iPhone at the bottom tier with modern day specifications? I think it's a win-win for both Apple and for users. What do you guys think? Will you be getting the iPhone 9? Which device would you be upgrading from? Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you appreciate videos like this, it always helps if you leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac.